Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Womb Podcast. I am Yareen, also known as Queen Yareen, and every single month I bring you the unique spiritual energy of the month and what the Hebrew festivals are, what we can learn from them, what we're even doing here. Today is Rosh Chodesh Av, the new Hebrew month of Av. Av is known as a sad month. It's like the saddest month in the Hebrew calendar. And the beauty of the Hebrew calendar is we have times to be happy, we have times to be sad. And Av, unfortunately, is one of those sad things. But what we will learn shortly is that it's not sad for the sake of sadness. It's actually sad for the sake of expansion, for the sake of vision, for the sake of unity and remembrance and longing. And it's actually a very amazing month if we look at it from the right perspective and from the right angle. So Av, basically in the entire Jewish year, is the second last month, meaning we're already at the end of the year, just 2 months before Rosh Hashanah, the new year, which is coming up in the month of Tishrei. So on the 9th of Av, which is called Tisha B'Av, the saddest day in the Hebrew calendar, and that is because multiple sad things happened to it, but the main things that happened was the destruction of the first and the second temple, which happened 490 years in distance between each other. It's about remembering the temple that we are waiting for. We had the first temple, we had the second temple, and our prophets say that we will also have the third temple. What was the temple? The temple was the spiritual home of the Jewish people. It was like the place where the Shechinah, the feminine aspect of God, was present, and it was just like the place for the Jewish people when we had sovereignty over the land of Israel. But since we no longer had the temples, our home was destroyed. And really, that's why the Jewish people have never really known a home since, because a new chapter started for Am Yisrael since we were exiled. And what that means is that we've been spending the past 2,000 years homeless. Yes, we've had, random places here and there where communities have been able to hold up, but really we've been homeless. And only now, after all this time, we've come back home to the land of Israel, but our journey is still not done, and it will only be done and it will only be complete when we have the third temple. And the third temple, as they say, is going to be a bet tefillah lekol ha'amim, a house of prayer for all of the nations. It is going to be a time of peace and of spiritual and moral clarity, which is the mission of the Jewish people. We are here to bring the third temple, to bring Mashiach, to bring the redemption. It's an era of peace. It's an era where the Jewish people finally complete their mission as a people. And I think that what has held us over these 2,000 years is that during these 9 days of where we mourn from Rosh Chodesh Av to Tisha B'Av, these are 9 days of mourning, which culminate in the climax of Tisha B'Av, which is the 9th of Av, the day where we have a 24-hour fast to remember the destruction of the temples. This wasn't just about being sad. These were literal days of collective remembrance. And what remembrance does, it reminds us of what we had, but not just for the sake of being sad about what happened. It's in order for us to remember what we're envisioning and reconnecting to that longing in order to manifest the potential in the future. So I really see it as this incredible mechanism of ritual, which is unfortunately the ritual of mourning, as a behavioral technology, kind of like a collective manifesting that for 2,000 years, only because we were sad and mourning during the 9 days, and because we fasted on Tisha B'Av, and because we prayed for Jerusalem 3 times a day, and every time we ate, we prayed for Jerusalem, and we were always thinking about Jerusalem, coming home to Jerusalem. That longing and that remembrance is what led us to finally coming home. And now I'm sitting here and it's 2026, and last night I was hanging out in Jerusalem, and we have the Knesset in Jerusalem, and we're back. And we couldn't have been back if we didn't have these times of unfortunate sadness in order to manifest and in order to create the future that we wanted. And during this time, yes, 9 days, we don't eat meat and we don't drink wine. And there's a lot of other restrictions. We don't bathe for pleasure. We don't go to the beach. So these are very sad 9 days. But we do that in order to create space to reconnect. We don't do that for the sake of being sad. Like, yes, there's also something very powerful about learning to sit with pain. And I think that only through really sitting with pain and going through the pain, rather than around the pain or above the pain, the only thing that will really cause transformation is by sitting with the pain and going through the pain. But we know that the contraction is there for an expansion. Rabbi Nachman says that there is nothing more whole than a broken heart. And that is because when you're going through the hard times, when you're going through the crunch, in the same way that before birth, there is such a deep contraction, and then there's an expansion and there's a birth of something new. So yes, this time is a time of sadness, but it's actually a contraction before the expansion. It is the contraction before the birth. After the 9 days, we have something called Tu B'Av, which is a very amazing, mystical Jewish holiday. It's a biblical holiday where the women of Jerusalem would go out, they would dance in the fields, and it was like a big celebration. It also celebrated a few other amazing things that happened on that day, like women being able to inherit land after the story of the daughters of Tzlopchad, the reuniting of the tribe of Benjamin with the rest of the people of Israel. All of these different things that happened that symbolize Tu B'Av is a day of unity. And this entire month is all about relationships, and it is about unity. And that is because we know that the temple was destroyed because of sinat chinam, baseless hatred. And the only way that we can fix baseless hatred is through unconditional love. So this month is really a month of focusing on our work of relationships, ben adam lechavero, between us and our friends and our family and our community. How can I start making amends? How can I see people with a good eye? How can I not speak lashon hara? This is a time to just start cleaning up our act in our relationship to another, because we know that the temple were destroyed because of baseless hatred, and they will only be rebuilt from unconditional love. And there's also unconditional love towards ourselves. So we shouldn't forget that. But I do think that this is a time especially, and that is kind of the bridge between Tisha B'Av and Tu B'Av, that both of these days, even though one is the saddest day and one of them is like the happiest day, actually, it says that there were no days as happy as Yom Kippur and Tu B'Av. So it was really such a happy day. And this contrast, the thing that bridges it is this idea of love, of unity, of relationships. So I feel like there's specific Hebrew months that are almost like mini mysteries, and that, we maybe didn't learn about them in school, but that they actually carry so much depth, because we know that every Hebrew month brings with it so much wisdom and so much inner growth, not just between on a psycho-spiritual level, but also between us and others. And most importantly, I feel, and this is something that I'm trying to bring and teach, is that everything that we have in our religion, in our tribe, in our people is not just about, okay, how do I grow in my relationship to my creator? Am Yisrael is here to be in relationship with each other, to be in a relationship with the land, to be in a relationship with God. And we're now in a new era. We have been already since Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, have come back to Israel. But really, this is a time to think about, we're not just remembering the temple that was, we're being in that pain in order to reconnect to the longing and to the remembrance and the vision of what we really are here for. And that we want spiritual clarity, we want moral clarity, we want the third Beit HaMikdash. So during this time, we're not mourning to be sad, we're mourning to remember. And that collective energy is what has brought us back to the land of Israel. We collectively manifested that over 2,000 years of mourning. Eventually, we came back home. And now that we're back home, what does the next chapter look like? And what can I do to be not just a better Jew, to advance my community, to be a leader in my community? And if not a leader in my community, how can I be a leader in my home, which is my mini Beit HaMikdash, my mini temple? So this month, may we bring the Shechinah, the divine presence, back to our hearts, back to our homes. And I really bless us with an amazing, amazing month. If you're fasting, have an easy fast, a meaningful time. And I hope to see you shortly back on another episode. So please subscribe, and I will see you soon.